Welcome back, everybody. A very sensitive issue we're going to talk about now, child marriages. Now, they continue to be a problem on the continent. The African Union estimates that 58 million young women in developing countries have been married off before their 18th birthday. Today, the Department of Social Development will host an event to commemorate the Day of the African Child. To share more insight on the event, we are joined in studio by our Minister of Social Development, Bathabile Dlamini, and also joining her is Zambian iliamupu Chipasha. Now, she's a 22-year-old woman who got married at the age of 15 to a man who was 20 years older than her, divorced at the age of 19, and now has a 6-year-old son. So that really is your story, and thank you so much for being with us to share it. Minister, welcome to you. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Leah.
Before we talk about a personal story that we're grateful to have you here with us, Minister, let's look at the situation on the continent. How bad is it for child marriages?
They are bad in some parts of Africa. But what is good is that in 10 countries, that is what the AU research says, it has gone down. Sub-Saharan Africa, it's there, and that is why last year the AU launched a campaign against child marriage, and that is why the commemoration of the Charter, 25 years of the Charter for the African child, has a theme that talks about child marriages. And the theme came up from young women.
Define child marriage for me.
Child marriage is a marriage
under the age of?
Under the age of 18.
Anything under the age of 18
Anything
on the
under
African
the age of
continent
yes.
is illegal and
Yes.
deemed child marriage?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's talk about iliamupu. I am saying your name right, I hope. Iliamupu.
Yes,
Thank you very much, iliamupu. You were 15 years old when you got married to a man who was 20 years your senior. Were you forced into that marriage? What was the circumstances in which you were married?
I was married off by my father because that time my father was experiencing financial crunches. Okay. So he thought marrying me off was one way of getting rid of whatever problem he was getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had no say, I
had
imagine.
no say because traditionally you just follow whatever you were told.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I grew of age, and then for him that gave him a green light that I was big enough to be married off. So it was okay with him.
When you say, when I grew of age, I mean, what in
when
your
I
dad's
got
definition?
matured. Yes.
Yeah. So that in definition is when your father felt, no, it's fine, you can get married and you must leave home now.
Yes.
Yeah. Then you had a child almost immediately?
Yes, just that same year I had a child. Got married at 15 and in the same line, 15 years, I had a child. Yeah, who was now 6 years old.
What was your life like? I mean, being married at that age?
My life was very pathetic because the person I was married to subjected me to a number of abuses, which were physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. Sexual abuse in the sense that most of the time this man would just force himself on me, which were very, very painful experiences, which still traumatized me to this very moment.
Yeah. You got out of this marriage, though. You managed to actually get divorced.
Yeah, with the help of YWCA, they helped me to assert myself, and then I started pushing things. Yeah, and then I filed for divorce, and then I managed to divorce him.
Yeah. And your child, is your child still with you?
The child was supposed to be with me. The court ruled that because the child was young, so the child was supposed to be with me, but because the father thought I would be earning a living through the little money that he would be supporting the child, so it was difficult. There was some kind of a war, so the child is still with the father.
Minister, these stories, this is one story of, I imagine, so many. And I mean, what are we doing to try and stop more stories like this?
I think most countries in Africa are the signatories of the Charter. And then, though there are a few with reservations, the AU is pushing very hard to ensure that all countries sign without reservations. Yeah. But also here in South Africa, just a week ago, we were celebrating, or we were focusing on child protection.
Yeah, yeah.
And we had an event in Kokstad. We found out that in Bulwer, there was a 15-year-old who was pregnant. And then again, last week, I think we all saw a story of a child who was sold,
yeah,
to say, because the boyfriend paid the father, who was 40 years old, 15 sheep. And neighbors were very helpful in Zolo.
Yeah,
and this shows that you need a partnership between many stakeholders to fight this. But also we do have the Children's Act in South Africa, which prevents the abuse of children. And amongst these things, the issues of child labor, child marriages, rape, and other things, the rights of children, the protection of children are looked into.
Yeah.
But also we have the Marriages Act that we have to look into, because it says a boy cannot get married under the age of 18.
Under 18.
But with the girls,
yeah,
it says there must be a consent by the minister if a girl has to be married at 15.
At 15.
So
that is what our law stipulates.
So we have to try and ensure that we amend that.
Is that something you are driving?
Yes, that is what we are driving, because we are signatories of the UN Charter, the AU Charter.
Yeah.
We also have a constitution in South Africa that is very clear. So we have to work towards removing that.
Yeah. I mean, what it does to a child. Your education, did it come to a standstill?
The time that I was married off, I was doing grade 8 then. So the moment I got married, I had to drop out of school. Since I was a married person, I had to join him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the time YWCA started helping me with the information, I told him my desire of wanting to get back to school, which resulted into more violence from him. But despite that being the case, I forged ahead. Yeah. Because all I knew was I was suffering because of not having an education. Yeah, the year that followed, I went ahead and enrolled in a basic school.
Yeah.
I sat for my grade 9 exams and went to a secondary school in my town. And then with their help, I managed to complete grade 12. And right now I'm a student, a first-year student at the University of Zambia.
Wow. What are you studying?
I'm studying linguistics.
Well done. Your family. What about your family? I mean, how do you view them, especially your dad?
To me, my dad, he did that because he didn't know what he was supposed to do. And then customary law in my country allows any child of any age to be married off with a consent from the parent or from any traditional leaders. I'm not bitter. I wasn't bitter with him. It's only unfortunate that before I could even get out of it, he passed on as well.
Okay.
So I'm just living with my guardians.
Yeah.
So for him, he did what he did because our customary law in my country allows it.
Yeah. He felt he was doing the right thing.
Yes.
You're meeting at the AU Summit. I mean, this is possibly a massive topic that needs to be discussed. And we talk about a theme of the empowerment of women, 2063. We're sitting in this day and age, 2015, and we've got wonderful young girls like this that are going through this on a daily basis. What's going to happen there? What is going to be I suppose, a big declaration between the AU leaders.
I think there's going to be a overwhelming support of women's empowerment, because you empower a woman, you empower the whole nation.
Yeah.
And women focus in their work. And I think even presidents of Africa have seen that where there are women, there is progress. But I must also say that women in the AU, the chairperson, and presidents like the president of Liberia have proved that where there are women, there is progress.
Yeah.
You look at the issues that the chairperson has touched on, the issues of protection of children, the issues of youth, issues of agriculture, and which is no longer taken seriously by our young people now. Issues of education, which are very important. And I think this is going to be supported. But also it's not going to be the first time that the AU supports the empowerment of women. Okay. The AU also adopted the Charter for Women's Emancipation, which means that we are working very hard towards the liberation of women in Africa.
Thank you for talking to us. We have to leave it there, unfortunately. Minister, thank you. Minister Bathabile Dlamini talking to us about forced and wrongful child marriages, and iliamupu Chipasha, married at 15 years old, now 22 years old, turning her life around and being a great example to all of us out there. You're an inspiration. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a break. We'll see you after this.